My name is Sarah Williams, and my persuasive essay is on international adoption. International adoption has been in the media spotlight in recent years as notable Hollywood stars such as Angelina Jolie and Madonna, who have adopted internationally. However, just because famous stars adopt inter-county doesn't mean that domestic adoption has fallen. In fact, it has grown while international adoption has been declining in the past 3 years. I got this information from AmericanAdoptions.com. There are many rules and regulations to the adoption process. My main focus is based on one policy that states it will protect children and families from unscrupulous adoption practices, thereby fulfilling its stated purposes. It also predicts that this rule will have consequences that will negatively impact leaving children. Prospective families and adopting agencies. I believe that inter-county adoption should have the same steps to adopt as domestic adoption, because then no one can hide anything from anyone and everybody will be on the same page. Once the final decision on where you want to adopt from is asked, this will make the family's lives easier and adoption agencies not have to worry about themselves or anybody else being in jeopardy. This information came from adoption.state.gov. My main points will be based upon Monroe's motivated sequence, where I will be speaking about need, satisfaction, and visualization. Now let's talk about the need. The problem that exists today is that in order to adopt domestic, the rules and regulations are less intense than adopting inter-county. And this is my visual on it. As you can see, there's one more step with inter-county adoption. And inter-county adoption is international adoption. Inter-county is just what they call it. As you can see, for domestic adoption, it begins with a home study. They come to your house and they learn about the whole family and what you're about to get into. Two, you have to make an appointment to consult and learn more about what you're about to get into. You have to apply for it. You have meetings with the coordinator. You make books and dear letters so they can see if you're suitably prepared or not. And then you finally become a waiting family. And then you get picked to get a child. And then you get to bring the child home. And then you have to have supervision meetings with social workers. And then you finally get to finalize adoption, and then the child is yours at the end of the day. After all those are done, which takes a while to get through. And to adopt outside of the country, these steps are more intense. You get to understand the difference between a hog and non-hog convention. You can complete an adoption home study as well. You have to hire an agency, obtain immigration pre-approval documentation, so you have to basically get all this information about the child who's in that country that you want to adopt from, and make sure that their medical history is on point and anything that you would do with your own child after having a birth. Prepare your donor, receive a child referral, child acceptance. The child needs to be accepted back into the state. Pre-placement and placement travel. So that deals with you having to go all the way over there and dealing with what you need to bring the child back home. Complete post-placement supervision. Finalize or re-adopt, and post-adoption support receipt. And all this is from adoptinto.org. As you can see, I didn't really go into depth of what you have to do when you adopt outside of the state, but if you really see that adopting in-state is less than adopting out of the state or out of the country. Now it's time. Next point is satisfaction. The solution to this problem of too many rules to adopt inter-county children should be for a new way of setting up the adoption process to make lives easier, such as making both of these into just one big rule. so you can adopt in the state, in the country or out of the country, but it's just not as long as the process that this is. Now it's time to visualize. Now imagine going to an agency and sitting down with a recruiter and asking what the different steps to adopt inter-county and domestic would be. And they say that the rules are the same for both, but the price is a little different since you have to travel. There wouldn't be no decline or incline in the adoption world. The main focus should be making the child and the families happy and creating a new family. On the negative side, if this was to stay the same way it is today, international adoption is going to eventually be eliminated, and children who need better lives will never get to see how living within the states will be. Ultimately, the decision lies within the power of the people. If not enough people speak out, then there will be no change. To conclude, adopting might be the best for some families today, but not understanding policies isn't an option when dealing with someone's life.